Hi students, welcome to the next week of the class. We're moving right along. So we last week finished our discussion of solid waste and also of water resources. This week we are moving on and we're going to talk about biodiversity, which is just a kind of a general name for all of the types and variety of living things that live on this planet. We're going to talk about threats to biodiversity, so some of the things that are threatening our species. And then we're also going to talk about agriculture, looking at sort of traditional agriculture, modern agriculture, some of the ways agriculture can be harmful to the environment, and some of the ways that we can actually make agriculture more environmentally friendly. So for this week's module, again, we have sort of our usual things. We're looking at, again, two different lecture topics. We have videos and notes that accompany those. We also then have our activities this week. This week's activity is about food insecurity, actually. So even though it's not something we tend to think about a lot here in the United States, there are still plenty of people, both here locally, nationally, and even globally, who don't have enough food to eat on a regular basis. And so you're going to learn a little bit more about that this week. You're going to do an activity that's sort of related to that, looking at some information, asking some questions about that here kind of locally and at home. Those. Then we have the module quiz, the discussion, and then the Socratic check-in. I do want to say that I apologize. There seems to be a little bit of slight confusion when it comes to discussions. And I noticed because previously when I did this course, I didn't have an exam. I only had one exam. The exam was at the very end of the semester. And I reimagined the class. That was too much to put all of that information in one exam. So then I broke it up into two exams, one in the middle of the semester and one at the end. Because of that, my timing of my folders doesn't exactly match up with the week that we're in. So for example, last week was week 5, but I realized that it was module number 4, and in the discussions here, this said week 5 versus module 4. And I don't understand how that was confusing, because some of you were jumping ahead to the next discussion, which is the discussion for agriculture, which is this week's discussion question. So again, I apologize for that. The way that I had things laid out by weeks didn't necessarily match up with what I had here on the discussion board. So I've tried to modify that. I've changed that a little bit. So now what we have is I'm referring to these by their modules rather than by their weeks. So module 4 was the module we just finished. Module 5 is the module we're doing this week. Module 6 will be next week, and then 7 will be the following week. So again, I'm trying to avoid some of that confusion. So I apologize for that, but they're laid out now a little bit differently. So hopefully that it'll make a little bit more sense to everybody as far as what's coming next. The other thing that I wanted to point out is, as I mentioned, extra credit. I did actually add the submission here. So if you attended the extravaganza last week, if you did any Earth Day event on your own, if you watched one of these virtual webinar options and wrote a paper, any of those, all of these extra credit submissions can now be submitted straight through here. The restoration work day that was supposed to be scheduled for yesterday was canceled due to the weather. There was too great a threat of thunderstorms, and the site that we're working on, it was too far away from the parking lot, and so we couldn't accommodate it. But we're trying to get that actually rescheduled. So hopefully maybe this next weekend we'll be able to do that. If you do decide to come, please send me an email and let me know. I heard that some students showed up at the site. Again, I'm not sure if they were students of mine or students of some other instructors, but I heard that they showed up at the site anyway. And again, if you don't let me know that you're coming, I can't contact you if there are changes and things that need to that I need to let you know of. So again, I don't know that it was any of my students, but now I'm a little worried that it was. So just in case, with the reschedule, and I'll send an email out to everyone, if it is rescheduled and you do plan to come, please just send me a quick email that lets me know, just so in case anything happens, I can notify you. The other thing I wanted to point out in additional materials here was the green technology presentations. So last week your outlines were due. And again, the idea behind the outline, it's just kind of your bullet points. Here's the information that you're going to use to put together your presentation. And I had a few people who have asked me questions about the presentation. They're like, so what exactly are we doing again for this presentation? I'm leaving it really up to you as far as what kind of a visual medium you want to use to create your presentation. But what you're then going to do with that is you're going to record a 3 to 5 minute video of yourself giving that presentation, and you're going to upload it to that Flipgrid site. So remember that Flipgrid site we used at the very beginning of the semester for our intros? We're going to use that site again, and this site is where we're going to put all of our videos about our presentations. This is also where you'll be able to watch other people's videos, because part of the project is also evaluation, and you get to watch somebody else's video and learn something also. So this is going to be kind of a handy place where we're going to put all of this. So there's a variety of different ways that you can do this. I've had students who've used their phones to record themselves, and they've got a PowerPoint on their laptop, and they just talk through their PowerPoint. That works. I had some creative folks who actually made, a video of themselves. They were super into video and video editing, and so they went out and collected video clips of different things and put them all together and narrated it, and that was great too. Other people have actually gone out and got like poster board. Remember back when we used to do science fairs and you used to get a poster board and you put information and pictures on there? I had students do that, and then again use their phone to record themselves as they were going through their poster. Lots of different ways that you can do this. You can use sites like Padlet or Pinterest, or places where you can make infographics on your screen, or just one slide on a slide deck with a bunch of notes and pictures. Be as creative as you want. That's the point. All I want is the information to come across to students, right? You presenting it. Tell me what you learned. Tell me what you know. Tell me why this is exciting. Those are the kind of ideas, all right? So if I can, I'll try to share. I have to go back to some of my previous boards, but if I can share, I'll try to share some of the video presentations from a previous class, just so you can see what some of the options are. I'll try to put those up on our Blackboard site. I'll put it here under the green technology presentation link here. I'll see if I can do links to some sample videos just for you to watch, just again to get a sense of maybe what other people have done. So keep in mind that the outline was the last big part before your presentation is due in a couple of weeks. So you have about 2 weeks to work on that, and then following that you'll have time to watch other presentations and do the peer analysis or peer evaluation and self-evaluation. Speaking of analysis, thank you for reminding me. I promised you all the opportunity to earn some points back on your exam. I have that here, right here on the modules folder page. So if you complete this assignment, it's called an exam wrapper. It's a few questions, and it simply asks you, how did you study? Okay, so what materials did you use to study? Where did you spend your time studying? And then it asks you to think about the mistakes you made on the exam, right? And think about why you missed the questions you missed. Was it because you misunderstood the question? Was it because you kind of read things a little bit too quickly and you didn't really spend enough time? Was there a concept that you just didn't know or didn't remember? So it breaks everything down for you and asks you again to really reflect on your performance on the exam. And then what can you do next time? So if you weren't happy with your grade this time, what changes can you make to better prepare for next time? That's the idea. If you turn this in, you can earn points back on your exam. And again, the better you did on the exam, the fewer points you get. And the lower your score was, the more points you could potentially earn back on your exam. So when you turn this in, I will go ahead and read through it, and then I'll say, great, thanks for your reflection, and then I'll add those points again right back onto lecture exam number 1 to increase those scores. Okay, so this just needs to be completed between now and the end of before the next exam. So before you take the next exam, you can complete this self-analysis at any time in between those 2 points. All right, so no specific due date, but just try to get that done before we take our exam next time. All right, I think that does it for this week. There's nothing else I can think of. Again, I apologize for the confusion with the discussions. I've labeled things a little bit differently now. You'll note that I'm using language module 4, module 5. I'll use module 6 and 7 instead of weeks because the weeks weren't matching up with the discussion board. So I fixed that. I apologize if you didn't answer the question about landfills from last week. Please go back and do that, and I'll still give you full credit, of course. That does it for now, I think. I will be out of town this week. Excuse me, I'm at a conference, so I'm not going to be readily available by email. I won't be sending out a midweek email on Wednesday, or I'll try, but I can't guarantee I'll send one out. So if I'm a little harder to get a hold of, it's just because I happen to be out of town. I'll return at the end of the week, and I will get back to as many of you as I can during that time if you have any questions. Thanks, everybody.